Hello everybody, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and today we're going to be going over some AWS S3 to be more specific, and we are going to be uploading files. Now, the tools that we're going to be using for this video are going to be Xcode 9 Beta 2, Swift 4, and you don't have to use Swift 4, you don't have to use Xcode 9. You could do this in Xcode 8 and use Swift 3 if you'd like. We're going to be using Cocoa Pods to get AWS into our project, and more specifically, we have to use AWS Cognito. We're obviously going to be using S3, and then I'm going to be using AV Foundation and AV Kit just so that we can display the video that I'm going to show you in this tutorial. The skill level that I selected for this is mainly intermediate, and the reason I said that it's intermediate is because you should really be familiar with AWS and working with the AWS frameworks or like have some grasp on it, because the Swift code is not necessarily hard. But maneuvering through AWS and following some of their documentation and seeing exactly what it is that you want to do, that's the hard part. So yeah, it's not too hard to do, and obviously I'm going to show you step by step how to do everything, but yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start off with a new Xcode project, single view application, and we're going to be messing with AWS, right? Go ahead and save that. We're gonna put it in our KL learning because that's where I learn ya. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to get the UI all up and running first. So let's go ahead and do that. So move over to storyboard. We're gonna have a UI image view. Just put this up there, and whatever looks alright. Right, pin that bad boy. Yeah. Okay, we're also going to have 3 buttons, and that will be the end of our UI. Alright, actually let's name these. So the first one I'm going to do is just upload. Right. The next one is going to be upload bulk, because I've had a few different requests saying how do you upload like multiple videos. So I guess I'll go over that for you guys. And then the last one is just going to be show content. Alright, let's stretch these out, and we're gonna stack them up, and actually everything, no, should be, yeah, that should be fun. Okay, so we got them all stacked. Let's do, fill equally, and then we will also pin this as well. So pin it from the top to the sides. Just say 20 on both sides, sure, whatever. Looking good. And not really sure why it's doing that. Spacing will be, let's do 30. Yep, and yep. Horizontally, accept. Or no, undo. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's up with the stack view today, and I really don't care. So that's what the UI is gonna look like. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay, we don't need memory warning. We don't need. Oh yeah, actually we do need the view did load. So what do we have? We have the image, right? So IB outlet weak var. And then image view, UI image view, And let's stretch this out so that we get pretty good looking thing going, you know, whatever it is that I'm trying to say. Get these actions going, yeah. Connect everything up. We have the upload, right? On upload tapped, we'll have at IB action on bulk tapped, and then we will have another IB action func on show tapped, right? So now let's go back in here. Man, these things are gonna bug me. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go in here. We have to connect everything, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And then we have bulk, touch up inside. We have show, touch up inside. And we have upload, touch up inside. That's the main one that should just be at the top, honestly. Okay, last thing, we just want this to look pretty, right? So let's make it look pretty. We want it to be aspect fit. Who's complaining? What did we do? Weak var. No, I'm gonna say that this is incorrect. Okay, so anyway, we got our UI all laid out. Alright, so UI is all connected, and all we need to do now is start doing our imports, right? So I already told you we're gonna import AV kit, right? We're gonna import AV foundation. Now that stuff's gonna come later. I'm not gonna put it in right now, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So now that this is all set up, let's go ahead and close it. I'm gonna move over to the terminal. We're gonna change directories into our desktop. We gotta go find that file. Go find it. So desktop, KL learning. Okay, and then what do we call it? Messing with some AWS. All right, so pod init, bam, open that pod file, bam, and then all we have to do is add in some of these pods. So pod, we want AWS core, we want pod AWS, what is it called? Cognito. And then we want pod AWS S3. Let's see if I got that right. That's all from memory. And I don't even use AWS. Pod installa. Dang. Getting pretty good at this. You go, Kyle. Good job for you. Alright, so we made our pods. Everything looks like it was done properly. So we're going to open this back up. Oh, shout out to, what's his name? Healthcare. Sorry I didn't mention you earlier, but that's the person that asked for this video. So there it is. Alright, so now what we have to do is we have to import AWS Cognito, import AWS S3, and then we're gonna build and run this. Well, we're just gonna build it, make sure that everything is working as expected. While this builds up, I'm gonna just switch over to Safari because we gotta get going over to AWS. What you're gonna do is you're gonna type in aws.amazon.com, and I forgot because it's been a while since I set up my my Amazon account or AWS account or whatever. I believe it uses your Amazon account. So if you have an Amazon account, I think you just sign in with that. But we're going to sign into console. All right. So you're going to come to a page that looks similar to this. What you got to do is you have to go up here where it says services. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to find Cognito. So this is my recently visited, but if you haven't done this before, you won't have that. So let's find it. AWS Cognito. Where was it? I just saw it not too long ago. Build succeeded. That's always good. Okay. When in doubt, search it out. Cognito. Down here, mobile services. So come down to the mobile services, Cognito. What you're going to do is you're going to do manage federated identities. It'll show all your past identity pools. This just means that you have an identity set up with AWS that you can access the system essentially. We're going to create a new identity pool. This has to be a globally unique name, like nobody has ever named their pool this. So what we're going to just call is messin with. Oh, actually, this one might not have to be globally unique. We'll see. Messin with AWS. We'll see if that works. Enable access to unauthenticated identities. I'm doing this right now because I plan on. Oh, we're not doing this. I plan on just accessing this without going too deep into AWS. I just want to get to the uploading part, not too much into the authorized authenticated user and all that other stuff. So let's keep moving. We're just gonna allow unauthorized users. Require access to your resources. Okay, so you gotta view details, create a new IAM role. We're just gonna leave all this stuff the same. Right, just leave it all the same. You're gonna do allow. Okay, so now this is where it starts giving you documentation on how to do this stuff. So we want to go down to iOS Swift because that's what we're writing in, right? It's going to tell you what you need to do. It says that you need a bridging header. You really don't. You could do it this way, but yeah, you don't have to. This part, if you've seen any of my videos, I usually don't like to copy and paste stuff. I'll usually just go ahead and type it out. But this stuff you do have to actually copy and paste. Not necessarily these lines, but this string right here is very important that you copy and paste it because this is unique to you. This isn't just like boilerplate. This is like your actual unique. So since I have to copy it and paste anything, I'm just gonna copy and paste these 3 lines, and we're gonna put it into our view did load. So all this is going to do, all this will do for us, if I could go over to here and do this for us. Okay, all this is going to do is it's going to make sure that we are an authorized AWS user that can go into the buckets and then like query stuff and all that other stuff. That's all it's doing. It's making sure that we are an AWS user and we're certified and all that other stuff, and that we can actually do this so that it's a little bit more secure. The reason why this is messing up is because some of the stuff has changed, so you just delete this part. That's really just default. If you're used to Swift 4 and even Swift 3 too as well, I should say Swift 3 as well, they shortened a lot of these names, so just default is all you really need to put right there. And that's all we really need to do for this part, for the initial setup. Now when we log in, it'll say that our device is an authorized device that can make queries against our buckets. So let's go back, and what we're gonna do, go back over here to services. Now we want to go to storage S3, and what we want to do is we want to create a new bucket. These are my past buckets. This is the one, hold on, bucket name. So we're going to call it messin. Oh, can't contain that. Okay, messin with AWS, right? And then for the region, you just leave it as whatever it defaults to you. Should be fine. Leave this blank if you want to follow along, that is. We're not going to deal with any of this in this tutorial, so just go ahead and do next. Manage users. Open all these up. If you're following along, make sure that they're all read and write. This will just allow us to get stuff up and running. In all honesty, this is why I say that it's really an intermediate course, because you should really know how AWS works and like what kind of permissions that you want to set on certain things. But I'm just setting it all to open so that we have full access and I can show you everything that's going on throughout the tutorial. So I set all of these to read and write, and we're just going to do next. We're going to assume that all that's correct. We're going to do next, create our bucket, and now we have our bucket. Now we'll get here and we won't have anything in here. They'll say get started, so they'll want you to upload something so that you can see that it works. What we're going to do is we're going to move over to permissions real quick. We're going to make sure that all of these are read and write as we just said it, and they are. And we're also going to move over to bucket policy, and we have to go down here to policy generator. Now once again, for the tutorial, I just want to make sure that everything is easy access and it's open to anybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down, go to this S3 bucket policy, because that's the one that we want to create. Correct. All right, so principal, for internet stuff, you generally put an asterisk in there when you want to select all or make it so that it's not specified to any one thing. So we want all, so we're going to put an asterisk there. You can't select that. Actions, we're just going to select all. The Amazon resource name, notice that it says the format is as follows. So just go ahead, we're going to copy and paste this because the format's a little bit weird. We're going to copy this. Don't really understand why it's in that format. That's kind of weird if you ask me. And we're going to put in our bucket name, which is messin. Wait, what is our bucket name? Is it messin or messing? Messing with AWS. Okay, messing with AWS, and you want to make sure that's spelled correctly. And notice that after the bucket name is a key name. So we're going to do slash, and we're going to do star because we're going to allow any key to access this stuff. So add statement, generate policy. It's going to show you like a preview of what you just put in there. It's going to show you the JSON, or I don't know if that's properly called JSON, but I'm going to call it JSON. And what we're going to do is you just copy this, close that. We're going to move back over here and we're going to insert it into our bucket policy. You save that. Bam. Okay, so now anybody can read and write this type of stuff, and we shouldn't have any problems while we're going through this tutorial. Okay, now back to the code. So we know that AWS and Cognito are in here and running as expected. So since we have two different uploads, which is on upload tapped and on bulk tapped, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one upload type function, and both of these functions are just going to call a modified version, or they're going to make some modifications before they call the upload function. So upload file, and we'll say with resource, and that will be of type string, and we'll say type, and this will also be of type string, and we'll go into here. So we're going to pass in a resource and a string, right, when we call it. So with this resource, what we'll do is we'll create a key, because when you a key is essentially what the file name is. So, I forgot to get those files. So let's go ahead and grab the files real quick that I'm going to grab. I'm just going to, put them in there, and this is how I'm going to access files since we're working on a simulator and we're not working with like a user's like a photo that they took and they put in their library or something like that. I'll just put it at the top. These are like 3 random planet images that I found on Google. Go ahead and use that. And then this is just an image, or this is a video that I took of myself messing around being good old Kyle. And the reason why I wanted to choose a video is because I also got requests for how to upload large files. Video files are, I consider any size large, especially 15 seconds is a pretty large file. So I'm going to consider that a large file, and that's what we're going to be uploading as well. But first, we're going to start off with something simple, such as the Earth image. So let's go back, and we're going to say going back to what a key is. A key is essentially just the resource name, which the resource would be Earth, dot the key, the type name, which would be JPEG. So this would be the key name, earth.jpg. So we'll say let key equal, and we'll do interpolation, and we'll say resource dot type, and that will be our key. Okay, so now what we want to do is we have to actually use the resource and the type to get the file path. So there's a file path to this image inside of the app, and we want to access that because that's what we're going to be uploading. When you take a picture from the user's camera, there's also a path, there's a URL associated with it. The same thing with the library, and that's what you would grab. So that's what we're going to do. So let local image path, you call it whatever you want, equal bundle dot main dot path for resource. We're just going to pass in our resource, and we're going to pass in our type, right? And then this is going to become optional, so I'm just going to force unwrap it. You definitely want to check for these things, make sure that you're not going to crash, but I like to live life on the edge. So let local image URL, because we want to make a URL from this path, URL, and we'll do it file URL with path, and we'll just pass in our local image path. And then from there, this is where we start getting into some of the S3 stuff. So what we have to do is we have to create a request. So we'll do let request equal AWS S3 transfer what is it called? Transfer manager upload request. Not efficiently named at all. I don't think Amazon has cared for Swift at all, if you ask me. But that's just if you ask me, because the way that they do this, telling you to make a bridge file or whatever, a bridge header, and do it, like, their documentation sucks. But whatever, let's keep going. Request. I'm over here talking you guys' ear off. Request. Oh, actually, this becomes an optional request. Notice that it's optional. I'm gonna just force unwrap this. Living life on the edge. On the edge, guys. Gotta live life on the edge. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to have bucket, and this is going to be the bucket's name, whatever we named our bucket. So if you notice, our bucket name is right here. I would suggest copying and pasting just so that you don't get it wrong, and then storing this globally just because it looks cool, I guess. We'll say let bucket name equal messing with AWS. Okay, so now we're going to just say bucket name, right? The request also will need a key, which I specified up here, remember? So we're going to say key. The request key is equal to key. Makes sense. Request dot. Now we need to say the body of it needs to be equal. So what is it that we're actually uploading, right? Where is the path that we're uploading from, and what the contents or whatever, right? So we want to say our local image URL. That's what's going to be in the body. Local image URL. And then lastly, what we have to do is we have to do something that's ACL. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what ACL really means. It says canned ACL to apply. I don't understand what that means. All I know is that this is what specifies what type of permissions are allowed. So if you do dot, you'll see the different permissions. So authenticated read, AWS exec read, all these different things, private, public read, unknown. I say public read and write just like I specified when I was creating the buckets. I made everything read and write, and this makes it easy so when I make a query or if I check online, I can actually get that I could get the URL, I can look at it online, and I can actually make sure that image or that video is actually saved up into the cloud. If you don't do public read or public read and write, then what will happen is that you'll get an access denied error, and it's not easy to show you guys how to go through this process when there's like access denied and stuff like that. You could go ahead and test it out. That's perfectly fine, but yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Okay, next we have to actually use this request, right? So we have to do we have to create a transfer manager. So this is also called something really weird, AWS S3 transfer manager, just like that. And then actually you have to do transfer manager dot default. Yeah, you want to make sure that you specify default. Now the transfer manager dot upload. So now we want to pop in our upload request, right? And this is also how I know that Amazon hasn't been paying attention to Swift. So now from this upload, there was no completion handler. What you have to do is you have to do dot and then add a completion after that. And it also matters which one you choose, because if you don't do the right one, it won't work. So you need a continue with. Okay? Any of these continue withs should work. But if you do continue on success with, that will not work for I don't know what reason. I don't use AWS, so I can't, tell you. I'm not. I don't have a lot of experience in these areas. But I do know that continue with is the only way that any of this stuff will work. So you can choose just the block, or you could do with the executor. I choose to do the executor because this specifies that I'm going to make sure that it goes back to the main thread. Or I could specify I want it back on the main thread when I get this information back. So I'm going to do this one. So for AWS Executor, you just enter, right? And you type in dot and main thread, right? Awesome. For the block, what we want to do is we want to tab into it. We're going to press enter. And then we're going to say that we're going to call this a task, right? So now it returns a task any. Another clear violation of Swift is you don't just return an optional any, you would return a void, because returning any, I don't know, you have to specify return nil at the end of all this. I don't understand this this framework. I'm sorry. I'm bashing it because I don't like it. Google is a far superior, like Firebase stuff is far superior to this stuff, if you ask me. But anyways, let's keep going. Okay, so after we do our upload request and we continue with an executor and we have a task, it returns a task. So now what we can do with the task is we can do it has an error attached to it. So if let error equal task.error, you'll see that the error is optional because obviously there might not be an error. We'll just print the error. Now, I usually don't do error handling, but there's so many different moving parts when you have to work with AWS that I have to check to see if there's an error, what happens. If task.result, now the result, I'm not going to show you guys, but the result I find is essentially useless. I didn't find any purpose. Like when you print the result, there's nothing that's really useful that you would actually want to do with anything, or at least I couldn't foresee any reason for using the result. So what I do is I just check for nil. If it's not equal to nil, then that means that there is a result, and now we know that it was successfully uploaded. So we'll just say print, and we'll say uploaded, and we'll just pass in our key, which is still up here, so we'll know what was just uploaded. This should be valid. Yeah. Okay. So now if all this works, we should be able to upload to S3, put it in our bucket, and see it. So the only thing that we need to do is specify that when we call this, we pass in something. So when the upload is tapped, what do we want to pass in? So we'll do upload file, and what we're going to do is we'll just pass in this first one, earth.jpg. So let's do that. Earth, make sure you spell it like capital, like if it's capitalized, then make sure you spell it capitalized. If it's all lowercase, then all lowercase. JPEG. Make sure you get this spelled right too. If it's JPG and this is JPEG, then it will not work. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we try to run this. Yeah, I hope all this is making sense. I don't want to make you feel like I'm rushing through it, but there's just so many moving pieces when you're working with this framework. It just becomes like I can't not like feel like make it feel like I'm rushing through it when there's so many different ways that you can go about doing all of this stuff. It's pretty crazy actually. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do upload. You'll see a bunch of garbage, and then you'll see either an error or you'll see that you uploaded a file. So now when we go back to our bucket and we hit refresh, we should have the earth file in there. Bam, it's right there. So if you go ahead and click on it and you copy this, now I found that if you use this link and you use it in Safari, it will just download to your computer without opening it up in the browser. I'm not really sure why it does that, but one way around that is to just go to the simulator. You press home, you go to the Safari in the simulator. You click on, oh, this is from earlier. So you click on this, you paste, right? Once you paste, then it'll be in your actual simulator. Now you could click on it and you press paste and you press enter. And there it is. It's up there online. It's up there, right? So now we know that our upload works. Now it works for images. Now we have to check if it will work for videos. So let's see if we can get that video that I had saved, the random.mov, and see if that will work. So all we have to do is just type in random and we type in MOV. And just typing that in will put it in here in this code, which will say, you know, we want the resource random. Type MOV, find the URL for this video, and then that will be what it's aiming to upload. So let's go ahead and run that and see if that works. I'm gonna tell you right now. Oh, it does. It does, because Kyle's awesome. That's why. That's exactly why. That's why. Okay. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Okay, so now when I hit upload, we're gonna see a bunch of gobbledygook. It's gonna take a little while because it's a bigger file, and then it will eventually say uploaded. See, after it's done. Now that's the thing about videos, and that's just like even if you do it on Instagram, it takes a little bit longer to upload videos, right? So that's all you have to do is if you're incorporating this into an application, just make sure that you have some type of spinner saying that it's still uploading or something like that. We're not going to work with the UI. We just want to know how it's done, Kyle. All right, then let's keep pushing forward. So random.mov, click into it. We copy this, right? Because we don't want to. I don't want to download it. I don't want to download it. I don't know about you. If you want to download the same file that you just put into a project, then by all means do that. But I don't want to do that. So random.mov, we're going to hit enter. It's already in a video player and everything. Look at that. Yeah. See, it's all there. It's only like a 14-15 second video. See, look at that. It's all there. Look, you can even skip back and everything. See? It's pretty cool. Okay, so enough of that. What we'll do is we'll stop. And now what we want to do is focus on doing a bulk upload, right? So all we have to do, and since I only have 3 images in here, I'm actually going to pass in. Oh, you know what? I didn't show you guys how to display the content because we can display it in here too. So let's go through that show, right? So we want to do one thing if it's a movie, and we want to do another thing if it's an image. So this is a really inefficient way of doing to show you guys this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. What we'll do is we'll do var content URL is of type URL, and what we want to do is we want to save, if it is successful, we want to save the URL. So to get the actual URL that's associated with your bucket, watch this one. This is what I'm talking about. See how it's S3-US-West-2. It will always be the same as this first piece in here. In order to get the URL and then just be able to type in a key so that you can find that item, all you have to do is we'll create a variable so that we can store that value, var, and this is going to be S3 URL, and that's also going to be of type URL, and this will actually just make this optional because we don't want our app to crash, even though we've been living life on the edge. You know what? Living life on the edge. Why start now? Just do it. Just do it, Kyle. All right. So in order to get this, all we have to do is do AWS S3 default telling you none of this makes sense. Configuration endpoint URL. So we'll do S3 URL is equal to that. So what it's doing is using the default AWS S3 container, and then based off of the configuration of that, it's grabbing the endpoint that's associated with it, and then getting the URL. I mean, that's what it's doing. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. Anyway, in order to get the URL for this the file that we uploaded, what we have to do is we have to do let content URL equal, and we'll do self.s3 URL, and then we'll append path component, and we can look at the way that it's made up if you want to look at it. So if we look at it, so what the S3 URL is this part right here. HTTPS, S3 blah 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 dot AmazonAWS.com. That's what the S3 URL is. What we have to do is we have to append the bucket name, and we have to append the key name. So let's do that. So self dot bucket name, and then we have to append another one. So dot append component, and we have to do the key. So now we have the content URL, and we'll just store that to our other content URL. So self.content URL is equal to content URL. And I think that's correct. Yeah, okay. So when we hit show tapped, we'll just use the content URL. What we'll do, or first we have to specify, is this a video or an image? Because if it's a video, then we don't want to try to make an image, right? So if we'll just do like a really rudimentary way to check. So if what is it called? Content URL. If content, sorry, it's getting close to 4th of July, so a lot of fireworks. Content URL contains content URL dot path, because we want the string of the URL, right? So if the path contains, we'll just say MOV, because that's what we're working with. You want to make it a little bit more robust than this, but yeah. So if it contains .mov, then that means that it's going to be a movie. If it's else, it's going to be an image. So let's work with the image first. All we have to do is we have to wrap this in a do, try, catch, do whatever block. And you know me, not messing with those errors. We'll do let data equal try data, and then we'll initialize this data, or we'll initialize this data from a URL, which will be our content URL right there. And then if we're able to make that data, then what we'll do is we'll say self.imageView.image is equal to UI image. We're going to initialize this image with some data, and we just pass in our data. Don't need this self. I don't know why I typed it. Okay. All right, so let's try that again, but what we have to do is we have to upload an image so that it can actually save it. So now we'll just try Neptune. Make sure you spell it right, or else it'll crash. Naptune? No, Neptune. All right, let's try that. All right, we're gonna go back over to the bucket, and we're gonna watch this happen. This should be popping up any second now. Still signing. So right now we're just handling if it's an image. So we have to upload it first. Bam, upload it. Make sure that it's there. Bam, it's there. Now we should be able to show it. Bam, look at that. Big sexy. Woo! Neptune, right there. Looking sexy. I like it. Okay. Getting a little bit too excited, but yes. Now we want to see what happens if it's a movie, right? Or if it's a video. So if it's a video, what we have to do is we have to create a player. So player not like a ladies man player, but like a AV player. There you go. And we have to initialize this, and we want to initialize this with a URL. Guess which type of URL? The content URL. That's the one. All right. So content URL. Then we have to create a player view controller. So let's go ahead and do that. Let player view controller equal, guess what? AV player view controller. You initialize this just like that. You say player view controller dot player is equal to, guess what? Bam, player. Now all we have to do is just present this bad boy. Present player view controller. We always do it true when we say animated because we like things to be sexy. That's just the way that we like it. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so now if it's a movie, then it should, play the movie. So let's turn this back to random because that's what we're going to upload the movie again. And I'm going to delete it just to make sure that everything is still working. So we go over to, oh, Kyle, what are you doing? All you have to do is click on this little box right here, go to more, go to delete that bad boy, and it's gone forever. Yes, until you upload it again. Okay, so now we're going to run it, we're going to upload the video, and then we're going to do show content. If everything works as expected, we should be presented with our player view controller. It should start playing the video right there on the simulator screen. Let's see. I know this isn't part of S3 and this isn't what oh no! Pfft, crashed it. Okay, let's try that again. Got too excited. Okay, let's try that again. Crashed it. Whoops. Yeah, so let's upload first. Upload first, Kyle. Upload. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wow, it's taking a long time, huh? Bam, finally uploaded. Random movie should be there. Bam, it's there. Show content. Woo! Look at that. Sexy. Woo! Yeah. Oh, look at how they make those buttons look now in, iOS 11. Isn't that so cool? I think it's pretty cool. It's a nice touch. Looks new. Looks fancy. Anyways, we're going to close that. We're all done with that. All right, so now we know how to show it. We know that it's up there in the cloud. We know that we can reference it. We know all that stuff. The only thing that we have left to do is the bulk upload. You can do this a number of different ways. Only reason I'm doing it is because it was requested to do it. So let's go ahead and go through that part. What I'm going to do to simulate a bulk upload is I'm just going to make an array. Let file array equal an array of files, right? So the first one is going to be Earth. We're going to upload Earth. Then we're going to upload Neptune. Then we're going to upload Saturn. Right? Saturn, Neptune, Earth. Bam. All right there. So what we want to do is we're just going to do a for file name in file array. We're just going to say upload, and we're going to say file name. And for the type, since they're all JPEG, I can just do this. I'm simply doing this as an example. This obviously isn't the way that you would want to do something in production, but this should be able to go through, use the file names. They're all JPEG, JPEG, and we should be able to do a bulk upload. So what I'll do is I'll actually delete all this. You don't have to delete it, but since I'm only working with a limited file set, I'll just delete it, show you that there's nothing in there. Completely clean bucket. We're gonna run this again. and then we'll actually be able to see each of them upload when each of them upload. All right, almost done. This wasn't too bad. It was not too hard if you ask me. So we're gonna do upload bulk. So this assumes that you have an array of images. You go ahead and press that. It's in a for each loop. It's gonna run through, upload whatever it can, whenever it can. Notice that Saturn finished before Neptune, even though Neptune was first. Smaller files go first. Bigger files are obviously going to take a little bit longer. So it says Earth, Saturn, and Neptune are uploaded. Let's verify that. And bam, that's a bulk upload. That's all you got to do. Uploading multiple files. So we went over how to upload multiple files. We went over how to upload large files, because I consider a movie file pretty big. It's not like a gigabyte or anything, because that would just take a little bit too long on a tutorial. I'd be sitting here waiting for the dang thing, and but yeah, this is how you do it. It's not too complex. I mean, essentially you don't even need AV Kit and AV Foundation if you're not doing what I'm doing here, but for demonstration purposes, that's what we needed. All you really need to do is make sure that you set up your AWS Cognito account. After you do that and you're all certified and you have identity pool set up, you just make sure that your bucket's all set up, and then you're set, you're ready to go and start uploading stuff. Yeah, so that's all you have to do, guys, and that's it. You're done. Oh, disk is almost full. Okay, all right, well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you. This will be up online. Go ahead and check the description below for all the information. And yeah, make sure you keep coding passionately. All right. Later, guys.